Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. DeWitt County recently approved the purchase of a new truck for the Emergency Management Agency, but the department is requesting a few more things to go with it. EMA Coordinator Will Pavlik had a planned absence from the meeting, however, had previously provided the Public Safety Committee with a short list of necessary accessories for the new truck to be approved. At the Thursday night meeting, Chair Megan Myers shared that the items include the purchase and installation of a mobile radio system, an emergency lighting system, and a truck bed cover.
Will is not here this evening, but he did send some information for some additional items for the EMA vehicle, the radio installation, and truck bed cover. I will say I did ask him to please take a look at prices for the truck bed cover just to make the vehicle more functional for him. And then the other system and radio he also sent. So I guess discussion or questions on these.
Buck Carter and John Wirtz raised a concern about the red and blue emergency lights, stating that Pavlik is not a first responder and would not need to use them.
Thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to have discussion before we do anything else. The one that bothered me, I'm concerned about is the light system that he's proposing to put on that truck.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to do that.
And I don't see that vehicle as being the type of vehicle that responds to like police ambulance does. My understanding when he bought the truck was that like if he's at home and he gets a call that there's something going on and he's in the car, he had to come here to get the supplies and then go to where it was with the supplies that were needed that he was going to provide. We got the truck so he could have his supplies with him and go straight there. I don't see that truck going down the road with flashing lights and all that. I think the flashers that's on a truck when he's there is adequate. I'm not in favor of putting emergency type lighting on that truck. Yeah, he's responding to requests. He's not an emergency response, first responder type thing. So I would like to not purchase the lighting system. I don't have a problem with putting the radios in the truck or the bed cover. I think is appropriate.
Concerns about the need for a mounted radio in the vehicle, in addition to the standard issued handheld radios, were also raised. With questions about these items, the committee decided to table both purchases to give Pavlik the chance to explain at next month's meeting.
And the radio, is it a handheld radio or is it something that's going to be mounted permanently in the truck?
I think the way I read that, it was a permanent mount. Permanent mount in the truck.
They have a permanent mount.
Yeah, and I don't know that that's necessary.
Although I think a handheld would be more handy if you're out on the scene.
My experience when I used to have a truck and respond to emergencies, our truck had a radio in it, but it was the handheld we used because we had it with us in our pocket. That was usually what we used rather than truck radio.
I wish he's here so he could respond.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna almost say, I wonder if we should table that, because my question about the radio is it a handheld and then part of the radio installation allows it to transmit better? I mean, I guess I thought about this and thought the truck bed cover seems pretty straightforward, but the other two, I almost wonder if we should table those until we actually have Will
I think that'd be a good idea.
come to the meeting and be able to answer
Because he's here
questions
to answer the questions and talk to him about it.
what the committee thinks. I think it's kind of at a disadvantage without him here to be able to
I
respond.
agree.
The committee did approve the purchase of a truck bed cover after a brief discussion about ensuring the cover would lock and be thick enough to secure items that are in the bed. The committee hopes that by tabling the purchases of the mobile radio and light system to next month's meeting, Pavlik can provide more clarity in person on the necessity of those items. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device from DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. Best of all free, all the time at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Hey, it's Shane from Highway 51 Exchange, your mower and equipment service pros just south of Clinton. Click our banner ad on DeWittDailyNews.com or give us a call to schedule your free pickup and delivery today. Highway 51 Exchange.
March in Forsyth keeps you on your toes. Snow one day, sunshine the next.
Maybe it's your season for a change. At Hickory Point Garden Homes, enjoy one-story duplex living with no maintenance and no worries. To learn more, click our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
MR Systems Wireless is your local internet provider for Clinton and surrounding area. They have the products you want and the local service you deserve. MR Systems Wireless Internet service for home or business includes unlimited data, unlimited streaming, and unlimited calling. Plans start at just $48 a month and get a free Roku 4-lease with our media packages. Get the speed you need with MR Systems Wireless. Call them at 935-2100. That's 935-2100 for MR Systems Wireless.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Gibson City Melvin Sibley had a pair of strong seasons in 2024 and 2025, and now they're looking to continue that success in 2026. Head coach Dustin White says his team is hungry after a fourth-place finish in the state in 2024 and a sectional semifinal exit in 2025. He feels that after a few bad habits are cleaned up, they can be an exciting team this season.
Yeah, so the last couple of years we've been, in really good shape. We went to state 2 years ago, 2024, finished fourth in the state, and that run I think has, kind of just created a lot of buzz and a lot of excitement. And then last year, a lot of returning guys from that group. We go to we win a regional again, kind of an odd fashion. We had in 2024, we beat Milford in the regional championship game. We did it again in 2025 with the same pitchers on the mound against each other basically again. And then we go to the sectional. We play Mount Pulaski in the sectional in our first round game, who we had played at the sectional the year before. Our pitcher on the mound for us was Graydon Leonard. He, basically shut him out 2 years in a row. So a lot of eerie similarities last year to what we had in 2024. And so now we're looking at taking that group that has, those 2 or 3 years worth of experience and how we're going to get going for this year. And then unfortunately, last year at the end of the year last year in the sectional championship game, came up one run short. We had opportunities abound. We left a ton of guys on base. We made 4 or 5 errors that were really unconventional for us. And honestly, if we'd played that game, it's one of those games where you say, if we played the team 10 times, we might get beat once. And I really honestly feel that was the one time that we lost that we normally would not have. Just didn't have our best effort. One of the worst games we played in a month, and it just happened to be in the sectional championship game. So I think some of these guys are maybe a little bit more hungry after coming off a kind of a bad beat like that from what we ended up with last year.
White feels that his players know what kind of hard work being a successful program takes. Not only are his 6 returning starters bigger and stronger, but they are also becoming better leaders.
It's exciting. I mean, we've got a lot of guys that are, like you said, they're hungry. They're coming back. They know what needs to be done. They know what practice needs to look like. We've got 6 guys that return that were starters from last year's team, and they're ready to go. They're bigger and they're stronger. But I think now that we've got those kids that are in that boat that are now juniors and seniors, instead of, sophomores and juniors or freshmen and sophomores in that group, you've got older kids now that their leadership is starting to come out. They're a little bit more vocal in practice so far. And they're doing a really nice job kind of keeping everybody in line. And this is what you need to do on a daily basis to get where we want to be. And they're getting their at-bats, their swings in, and they're working really well in the indoor mounds and those kind of things. So, yeah, right now I'm pretty happy with our efforts.
Pitching speed and accuracy will be a strength of the team this year. He notes that his pitcher, Graydon Leonard, recently threw 91 miles per hour, which is not often seen at the 1A level. He adds that they have a lot of talent in their early week pitchers.
When a couple of our guys are on the mound, we'll be really good at getting strikeouts and throwing and striking people out and hopefully playing some defense. We got Graydon Leonard, who is a top line starter, kid getting some D1 looks at this point in time. I think last week or week ago, he was at 91 miles an hour in one of the PBR events. And so you don't really get a lot of that on a daily basis at 1A baseball. And so he is an anomaly there. So when he's on the mound, he's going to be really, really good. The Greer kid for us, who came in last year, his last 3 outings were 5 basically no-hit innings. When he comes into the back end of a game to shut things down, he's really, really talented. So our key here early in the week, when we've got those kind of horses on the mound, we're going to pitch it a little bit. I'm a little concerned about the back end of the week. We've got to get some other guys. We'll see how they do. But our top of the week guys are really, really talented, especially at the 1A level. I think I like our athleticism. I mean, we've got some kids that are they're really high athletically type kids. You know, they've got some speed. We've got some pop in their bat. They run the bases hard. So I think just that overall across the board athleticism that we have, I don't think we're going to have anybody in the lineup that really kind of clogs the bases up or does those types of things this year. We've got some kids that can run a little bit. We've got hopefully some really solid defensive guys. And I hope that, you know, when the ball gets put in play, we can make some plays behind them and shut some people down defensively.
The Gibson City Melvin Sibley Falcons are scheduled to begin the season against the Warrensburg-Latham Cardinals in Warrensburg. First pitch is at 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday. The Normal Community Baseball team will undoubtedly be one of the most talented teams in the state of Illinois, and with that talent comes big expectations. The Ironmen were on the cusp of a state championship appearance last spring, and Coach Ryan Short indicates that with a ton of experience and depth, the focus this year is preparing for the best of the best for when the postseason rolls around.
You know, last year after we lost to Normal West, you know, kind of mid-season, mid-conference season, by, you know, a really great day by Chase Reinhardt for them, and the facial expressions on our kids' faces after that game was really telling to me. Like, I went home that night and said to my wife that I think we're going to make a run, because they weren't phased at all. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, poor me, the sky is falling, the world is going to end because Normal West beat us 3-0. And Chase Reinhardt pitched a gem that day, and the sun's going to come up tomorrow, and we're going to get back at it. And that was a huge day for us. That next day of practice and moving forward from that was huge for us. Then we rattled off, 20-some wins in a row to finish the season up until the Libertyville game. Yeah, and we bring back a lot of experience from that team. We also bring back a lot of guys who learned, leadership from the seniors that graduated last year as well. We had in the state semifinal game, we started seniors at 2 positions last year, so we're filling those spots in, and so we return a lot of position depth, guys that have gotten stronger since then, guys that have played a lot and hit a lot since then. So we are excited, optimistic for what our lineup is going to look like 1 through 9, and depth on our bench. And there's no secret that in high school baseball, and especially for us, it's about beating everybody's number one. If in the postseason, you're going to get numbers 1 and 2 most every game, and those guys, number 2, 3, 4 at schools like Edwardsville and O'Fallon and Manuka and Maine South and all the schools, Libertyville, et cetera, that it takes to stand on that stage. You got to beat really good pitchers, and so that's something that we made a focus. Is that no matter what we're doing in practice each day, our mindset is we are preparing to beat the best.
The depth for the Ironmen starts at the catching position, where Coach Short has 2 D1 commits and a junior who is highly regarded in recruiting circles in Illinois. Additionally, his pitching staff features a duo of D1 pitchers.
Well, we bring back a lot. We bring back a lot pitching-wise, and we added Josh Jones, who transferred to us from U-High. Josh was in Unit 5 as a junior high student and went to U-High his first 3 years and transferred over. So Gavin Swartz, Landon Corbin, Josh Jones, Jacob Engel, Beckett Weber, a junior Lucas Beatty. Yeah, we've got depth there that's going to help us a lot. We returned 3 catchers, Max and Drew Stevens, both Division I commits. Max will be headed to the University of Illinois at Chicago next year, and Drew will be going to Valparaiso. And then we also have a 3rd senior catcher, Tice Beckman, who is likely committing to a pretty good community college soon. I can't give that away for him, but he hasn't done it yet. So either that or a Division III school. I know he's looked at a lot of places. So we have, and then Lucas Beatty is like the number 6 ranked catcher in the class of 2027 by Prep Baseball Report. So we have an abundance of talent and expertise and experience behind the plate. Honestly, Drew Stevens is one of the most positional, flexible players I've ever coached. I mean, in addition to being, a Division I recruit as a catcher and very, very good behind the plate. He also is excellent at both corner infield positions. We might look at him at second base a little bit this year. He could play either corner outfield position. So if I was Valparaiso, I'm bringing in a kid who, depending on, if he hits at that level, he can play wherever they need him. And so I think that's fun for Drew. Max will play some first base and DH a little bit. And it gives us a chance to keep those guys a little rested throughout the season to a degree. And Lucas Beatty, honestly, is a 9-position player. He's one of those throwback kids that could play all 9 and play them well. So we will move Lucas around, based on where we need to have him in there from day to day.
Coach Stevens believes that he has a team that loves baseball, loves to practice, and is driven to get better. The Iron Men open up the baseball season next Thursday, taking on O'Fallon. In high school boys basketball, state semifinal Class 2A scores from the State Farm Center yesterday. Top-seeded Quincy Notre Dame beat 5th seed Farragut 64-43, while 1-seed Peoria Manual took down top-seeded Tolono Unity 62-57. In the third-place game, Tolono Unity beat Farragut 86-61. Luka Doncic had 51 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. LeBron James had 18 points in his return after missing 3 games to injuries. And the Los Angeles Lakers used a strong third quarter to defeat the Chicago Bulls 142-130 on Thursday night. Austin Reeves chipped in with 30 points. DeAndre Ayton had 23 points and 10 rebounds for his 20th double-double of the season. Josh Giddey scored 27 points, and Mattis Buzelis had 22 for the shorthanded Bulls. Giddey and Buzelis combined to go 10 for 20 from three-point range, finding their shot in the second quarter and keeping the Bulls in striking distance for most of the game. Chicago ended up 15 for 36 from deep. The Bulls visit the Clippers on Friday, while the Lakers host the Nuggets on Saturday. Connor Bedard scored off a rebound off a post at 3 minutes and 57 seconds of overtime to give the Chicago Blackhawks a 3-2 victory over the Utah Mammoth on Thursday night. Bedard, Tyler Bertuzzi, and Frank Nazar each had a goal and an assist, and Spencer Knight stopped 29 shots. In the 3-on-3 overtime, Alex Vlasic blasted a shot off the post. Bedard controlled the rebound and snapped it into the net. Dylan Gunther and J.J. Peterka scored for Utah, and Carl Vamelka made 20 saves. Bertuzzi tied it at 1 on a 4-on-3 power play 2 minutes and 18 seconds into the third period. Nazar gave Chicago a 2-1 lead at 9 minutes and 17 seconds to extend his point streak to a career-best 5 games. Peterka tied it with 6 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. Gunther opened the scoring with his 31st at 5 minutes and 47 seconds of the second period. Chicago visits the Las Vegas Golden Knights on Saturday night, while Utah hosts the Pittsburgh Penguins on Saturday night. Jimmy Snuggerud scored twice to lead the St. Louis Blues to a 3-1 win over the Eastern Conference leading Carolina Hurricanes on Thursday night. Snuggerud scored a tying goal in the second period and added a go-ahead score in the third for the Blues. Jordan Bennington starred in net for St. Louis, stopping 31 of the 32 shots that he faced. Pavel Bunchnevich scored his 15th of the season into an empty net in the final minute, and Dylan Holloway assisted on both goals by Snuggerud. Mark Jankowski scored for the Hurricanes, who had their 12-game home point streak halted. Brandon Bussey made 14 saves. Jankowski scored his 7th of the season after making a steal at center ice, moving around the Blues' Tyler Tucker and beating a sliding Bennington with a high shot for a 1-0 lead. Snuggerud tied the game less than 4 minutes into the second period, beating Bussey with a snapshot from the high slot. He added the tie-breaking goal with just under 5 minutes remaining in the third period, sending a shot beneath Bussey's blocker from close range. The Blues host the Edmonton Oilers on Friday, while the Hurricanes are at the Tampa Bay Lightning on Saturday. In scores from around the NBA,